and response to the 2023 flood alert. Meanwhile, the Minister of State for Water Resources and Sanitation, Bello Goronyo, has advised the state government to prepare against floods following an increase in the volume of flow along the River Benue. The minister said this at a press briefing in Abuja over the weekend. He said a report from the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency indicates an increase in the volume of flow along the River Benue system, registering a flow level of 8.97 meters as of Saturday, compared to a flow level of 8.80 meters on the same date.
Lock-up shops in front of their houses are finding it difficult to rent out their shops because their shops has been submerged in water. The road is just so bad.
Now they want to open the dam. We don't want what happened last year to happen again. Struggling because of bad road, especially Oyibo West, Poultry Road. They should remember us.
From Graceland and all those places when rain fall and no-go area. We for Oyibo West then just abandon us. All the road projects we no see anyone. Because of everything happened here last year and last 2 years, people lose properties.
Well, they are called River Statements who back truck energy and bring evacuation of residents from here. No, Grace Avenue and Poultry Road in Oyibo West are always flooded when it rains. Moving on, the Nigeria says its carrier strike on some refineries at Cawthon Channels, Bile and Gogo Kori were conducted at Idama in Akokotoro local government area and Omoma in Degema local government area of River State. But the NAF spokesperson also said that active illegal refining sites with reservoirs suspected to contain illegally refined products were destroyed in both locations. Meanwhile, River State Governor Siminalayi Fubara says the oil pipeline surveillance contract awarded to an individual in the Niger Delta region is counterproductive. As you may know, the federal government last year awarded a...
It is their head. Those people you're dealing with, it is their head. Those people you're dealing with in this other end, but look for the anchor people and really talk to them. Once we're able to catch them and make them part of the process, there is no two ways about it. It will on its own just go down.
Well, Governor Fubara also urged the federal government to identify and punish those involved in crude oil theft to reduce economic sabotage.
But who are the big people in this business? They are not people here. They are those people in Abuja who have this license, who do this exploitation. It's not my people here. So if those people in Abuja are not encouraging it, I don't think business will flourish. It's just like a thief. If he's going to steal this camera, somebody is not buying it. He won't be encouraged to go and steal it. So we need to work not just on the local, but also see what we can do to really clamp down on these big ones that sit in Abuja that are also part of the big government.
Well, Governor Fubara also expressed worry that despite the Minister of Defense, Mohammed Badaru, said the team has the mandate of the president to work with the state to promote peace in the Niger Delta region and ensure that national assets are protected. Away from that, police say efforts are ongoing to arrest those who shot and killed an inspector at a hotel in Oroworokwo, Oluobasanjo, Port Harcourt. In a statement, the spokesperson of the River State Police Command, Grace Iringekoko, said the police authority is also working to recover the rifle taken by the attackers. SP Koko said the inspector, who was attached to the Department of Operations in Yenagoa, Bayelsa State, was fatally shot on the head on Friday night while escorting his principal. Still come. Inaugural FEC meeting about his principal. Still come. Inaugural FEC meeting about to begin in Abuja. Stay tuned. The inaugural meeting of the Federal Executive Council is holding about now in Abuja. It is the first formal meeting between President Bola Tinubu and his cabinet since the swearing-in of 45 ministers a week ago. The meeting, which is expected to be attended by the 45 ministers, will afford them the opportunity to table the blueprint of their respective ministries for approval. Well, this is in line with President Tinubu's directive at their inauguration on the 21st of this month that they must begin work immediately. The Federal Executive Council is constitutionally set up to advise the president and also determine the policy direction of government at the executive arm. Presidential spokesman spokesman Ajuringelali says President Bola Tinubu is not afraid to fire anyone and will not tolerate failure from either of his recently inaugurated ministers. Mr. Ajuri said this on Channels Television today. He said the president used the interim period between his emergence and his inauguration on the 29th of May to set up a series of reform committees across all the sectors. He said the Tinubu-led administration will effectively implement a plan based on time-based benchmarks in order to measure the performance of a minister. In other news now, Nigeria's former vice president and presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party in the 2023 election, Atiku Abubakar, has again carried the controversy trailing the academic history of President Bola Tinubu. In a post on X, Mr. Abubakar said unless a clarification is made about President Tinubu's academic journey, it is difficult to understand. We'll recall that he's currently praying a United States of America court to prevail on the Chicago State University to clarify the inconsistency in the certificates it issued to Tinubu. And in business, some residents of Opobonkoro local government area of Rivers State say they are concerned that the 5 billion naira palliative sent by the federal government as part of measures to cushion the effect of the fuel subsidy removal will not get to them. In an interview with our correspondent, some of the residents said the inauguration of committees to oversee the distribution and strict monitoring will help avert the issue of embezzlement.
If this money is just left in the hand of government, the government will just give figures to retire this money. If this money will get down to the people, the best approach to this is to share this money to various units. If this money is shared unit by unit, it will get to the people directly involved.
If you look at how the hardship has regenerated into, you will agree with me that this money should be injected into the agricultural sector. A custard of Gary that used to be sold for 500 naira, 600 naira, 650, now is 1,500 naira. Look at other things in the market, everything that are very expensive as a result of this subsidy removal.
They will just take it among the loyalists.
Well, some residents of Port Harcourt also spoke on this.
Let me alone. This money, they should use it to fix up things that the people will benefit from. For instance, they have called me to come and give that money to people. The first thing I should think is about my family, my well-wishers, and all that. That is how those people think. They are friends.
If they want to disable anything, I prefer them to do it individually, according to the account numbers, than putting it in people's hands, because it won't get to the poor.
There are some people who don't use bank accounts, and I think they are one of the people who need the money the most. So I feel like they can just select some people to go from places to places and like gather the people who actually need the money.
We'll recall that the federal government on 17th August approved 5 billion naira to be given to each of the 36 states of the federation to buy grains and 5 trucks of rice to each state as palliative to cushion the effect of food shortage across the country. In entertainment, British singer Adele is on the headlines for turning on her own security for bothering a fan who turned up for her Las Vegas show last weekend. Adele was about to perform her song Water Under the Bridge before stopping abruptly. The singer scolded the staff. There's a security man who was hassling a fan, and the rest of the concert goers were thrilled that she was defending her own. In sports, Napoli's Nigerian forward Victor Osimhen scored his 100th club goal as Napoli continued a perfect start to their Serie A title defense with Sunday's 2-0 win over 10-man Sassuolo.
And now, we bring you news from around the world.
The Taliban is stopping female Afghan students from leaving the country on scholarships. A report by the BBC says the scholarships for Afghan women were announced in December 2022 after the Taliban banned women from university, and a total of 100 Afghan women have been successful in gaining these scholarships. The report says at least 60 girls have been turned away from the airport and were not allowed to leave Afghanistan on student visas. Photos seen by the BBC show young girls wearing black hijabs or headscarves standing next to their luggage in a state of shock and devastation. Well, that's the news this afternoon. But before we go, another look at the highlights of the major stories. On the news this afternoon, you heard that NEMA has listed Rivers State as one of the states that will be affected by the release of excess water from River Benue in Cameroon. The Nigerian Air Force has carried out another airstrike in Rivers State. Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has faulted the pipeline surveillance contract to individuals. And the police are on the hunt for killers of an officer in a hotel in Port Harcourt. The inaugural FEC meeting will begin any time now in Abuja. And on the foreign scene, the Taliban has stopped female Afghan students from leaving the country on scholarships. The news was edited by Martha Okerenkem. Mostly cloudy weather in Port Harcourt this afternoon. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808 721 7215. Remember, peace is the path to the prosperity of a nation. Let peace reign. I'm Constance Mega. Thank you so much for listening. Good afternoon.